Welcome to Senior Insights. My name is Cynthia. This is just a quick afternoon video. If I post a video in the afternoon, it's usually pretty quick and not earth-shattering. Today's video is going to be on the first roast, and the reason I'm doing that is because when I did a video a couple of weeks ago on National Coffee Day, someone said, gee, I wonder, does anyone wonder who first thought to roast coffee? So I thought, I'm going to figure that out. And you know, nowadays it's not really hard or difficult to get information. So that's what I did, and I thought I'd share it with the folks that are interested. I know it doesn't interest some people, but that's okay. There will be some people that like it. So picture this, somewhere in ancient Yemen, this guy is standing over an open fire, and he has some beans in his hand, some green, they're little green beans, and they don't smell like much. And he's aggravated. He wants to get them out of his hand, so he throws them in the pan that's heating on the stove. And eventually, after a short while, they start smoking, and everybody's coughing and gagging and choking on the smoke. And then all of a sudden, they are smelling the wonderful fragrance of roasted coffee, as well as the campfire. I'm sure it wasn't perfect. So to think that that's how it all started, not in a fancy cafe, just over someone accidentally invented the world's best morning aroma. And let's be honest, people have been burning coffee beans ever since. Some of us more than others. Have you ever burnt coffee? I don't think I have, but I can imagine that it would smell pretty awful. So let's take a brief trip through time and see how this all began. It was in the 16th century. Turkey, Persia, and North Africa, they had special coffee pots. They went into special coffee pots. And by the time it reached Europe in the 1600s, roasting coffee at home was becoming very popular, and there were actually pots that were designed for that. People used metal pans with long handles and small turning cranks. So the first real coffee roasters appeared during the industrial age around the 1800s and mid-1800s. That's when big roasting companies like Folgers and Maxwell House started emerging in the United States. So these are just a few fun facts that I'll share, and then we'll be done. And hopefully you enjoyed it or you learned a little bit something. Well, it was Smokey beginnings. We've already talked about it. Roasting coffee was developed over an open fire accidentally in Yemen. But imagine your coffee smelling like coffee and campfire smoke. Then in the 1800s, there was the coffee spinner, and that was hand-cranked roasting pans, kind of like popcorn poppers. And I still pop my popcorn on the stove the old-fashioned way. I put some oil in the bottom of the pan, I put the popcorn in, and then I shake it. So that's what I'm kind of envisioning this crank pan is, but it has a long handle, and they did it over the stove, and they would shake it and spin the beans to roast them. Then in the 1800s, when the industrial era came, Folgers and Maxwell House came into being, and they started selling coffee instead of raw beans. So they sold roasted coffee. Before pre-roasted coffee was sold, families roasted beans right at home, and the aroma of coffee beans was just a tradition in the morning, like it is now. modern roasting magic, we have all kinds of roasters. They've really evolved, and it's much more of an art now. We have temperature control, we have airflow control, we have humidity control, down to the second, turning coffee roasting into a science and an art form. And that's why we see so many different kinds of coffee, so many different flavors of coffee, and some coffee roasters that are better than others because it's becoming more and more perfected. So when you think about it, every single cup of coffee that we drink connects us to hundreds of years ago. I have to take a sip. With the curiosity, the patience, and a little bit of trial and error, just like anything else. Try it, and then you try something else, you try something better. So from that first smoky fire in Yemen to, these fancy cafes and Starbucks and coffee shops, and I know in the, people just like coffee. They seek comfort in it. The funny thing is, for myself, I don't really like the taste of coffee. I do agree that some coffees taste better, and I prefer to have a good cup of coffee, and I like it. I like a dark roast because I like it to taste like coffee and to smell like coffee. But I don't like the taste of it, but I drink it anyway. So it's either the caffeine or just because it's a sophisticated habit. Like everybody does it, so you have to do it. I don't think so. It's probably the caffeine. So this is just my little cupful of history. When you think about it, each cup of coffee that we drink connects us to hundreds of years of curiosity, patience, and a little bit of trial and error. And from that smoky little fire to Starbucks, we now have sleek roasters, and it's really the same story. People seeking comfort in a cup. So the first sip in the morning, and there is, I have to admit, I love that first sip when it's first made. It is delicious then, but it somehow loses its appeal after that, after it cools down. But we love to wake up and smell that smell. We love to take a little pause and relax and have a cup of coffee. Meditate, then have a cup of coffee. Read a book, have a cup of coffee. Have your friends over like we do in the morning when we get together. We have a cup of coffee together. So when you're having a cup of coffee, you're holding history in your hands. So how cool is that? Thank you for sharing. Thank you for coming. I'd like it if you would consider liking and subscribing, and I will see you tomorrow. Bring your coffee.